Hey listeners, and we're back for a new year 2021 after a long extended vacation. Still wallowing in the backlog of the end of 2020, but working it off. Here we are at the start of a new year with new aspirations and hope for many. Yet sadly, 2021 is still wreaking havoc worldwide. COVID is ramping up and businesses are still badly affected despite the first rounds of vaccines being distributed. Sentiment seemed to have been that things would be better by this year, but it seems that by early 2022, things will return to a norm, hopefully. Yet here at EOA, we fully embraced remote and live, and hopefully doing more live episodes regularly with guests who are remote. You can follow the Twitter to see when this is happening. Also, if anyone is an editor, I'm looking for some help to help speed up the post-production process. You can contact me at alex@entrepreneursofAsia.com. For today's episode, my good friend Alan Ding shares his wild story. In between the lines, there are so many lessons one can learn, from the power of compounding money, time, and experience, to dealing with the regret and trauma and drama of past experiences. In part 1, Alan recounts his early days from working at a supercomputer in San Diego to him joining a startup with the genius Steve Rodenberg, who had a series of successful startups and was an early engineer at Angel Studios, which famously later became Rockstar Games. Alan also shares his later experiences working on commercializing a product that touched over 100 million users worldwide. We also get to hear a little bit about how Alan grown as a leader and decided on his path building a profitable business. And probably by this year, 2021, he'll have close to 100 engineers under his management with a growing client base. If you want to hear how the story of one becomes a high-quality, sought-after engineer, definitely listen to part 1. In part 2, we get more tactile and hear from Alan how he thinks about tech and the more pragmatic aspects of being an engineer, which has advice for both business and technical entrepreneurs alike. Let's dive right in. Welcome to the show, Alan. How are you?
I'm fine, Alex. How are you?
Yes. So we have Alan Ding with us. He's the CEO of SnappyMob. You can follow him at Ramalamadingdong at Twitter. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
It's actually a lot simpler. It's A-L Ding. Right?
Yes, that's right.
Which what's the L?
It's actually Alan.
Oh, Chinese name, Alan. Or is it?
It's actually my middle name, which is Lun.
Lun. Okay, so
Yeah,
A-L Ding.
yes.
Okay, that's it's okay one, not bad. I'm sure there's someone trying to get it.
It's okay.
There's quite a few. I was doing research on you. There's quite a few Alan Dings.
There are. It's a very popular Chinese name.
There's Alan Ding, the ring designer.
Yes.
Head of intelligence of customer service of Ant Financial.
Okay.
The one with the failed IPO. Okay. DJ Ding Dong from Van City, Canada.
Okay.
Yes, but this is Alan Ding from Kuala Lumpur.
Yes.
How would you describe yourself as a person, Alan?
I'm an introvert for sure. I'm very analytical, I think. So I try to make decisions, and I try to think in terms of, logic, data, whatnot. I'm fairly quiet or antisocial.
How would your friends describe you?
I'd say people who truly know me, they probably know I'm a bit hot-headed, honestly.
Really?
Yes, I am.
Hot-headed.
If you work with me a lot, I kind of keep things inside. Maybe a bit of a temper, but only when I get very frustrated. I think it's born out of really caring about things, and I'm not trying to position that as
you're not trying to deflect.
I'm not trying to deflect. I'm not trying to make that a good thing. I actually think it's a bad thing.
Okay.
Myself. But yeah, I care very much about doing things good enough, whatever that threshold means, for me. And sometimes, or often that means, for me. And sometimes, or often that gets on, people's, nerves or makes people upset. And that comes true often when you know me a bit better, hopefully not in a I wouldn't say it's completely negative, but it's something, for transparency, that clients might not see. My customers might not see, but when we do our work, working with our team, I'm very passionate, maybe if it was the PC way I'd put it.
Why customers, not clients? What do you mean? Is there a difference in meaning?
Actually, no, I don't think there's necessarily something.
So there's nothing bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
we're actually working on sort of SaaSes as well.
Oh,
now.
SaaS?
Yeah,
Okay.
like some SaaS, small, not
Okay, software as a service.
software service. Nothing revolutionary.
Okay, so that's why you would say customer versus client.
Yeah, I'm just trying to generalize a bit too.
Okay,
like all the people that.
I thought maybe there's a pejorative meaning, and
no.
So in short summary, and this is very interesting because this is what you said. You first start off with some introspective thoughts about you as a person being introverted, being detail oriented, being data driven.
Yep. How you put it. It's way better than how I did.
And then what you end up following with the other question is that people actually don't know this other side of you, and you're correct because I worked with you previously as a client, I guess, right?
Yeah,
as a client, right?
As a client.
And right, I would have never guessed you would have been hot-headed. And that's how you kind of put that. You say that it's because because you care so much. Yep. And you may say that's a bad thing because I think that it impacts the dynamic of the work culture that you're trying to build. Yep. And you're saying this from a leadership perspective, right? Yep. But at the same time, that's also good from a client perspective because they can see someone as you're not the kind of shop and that where you take a client in and you just throw whatever and then you get like crap product at the end, right? No value.
Yep. We definitely do not want to deliver anything that's quote unquote crap to any client, like no matter who. They deserve better, obviously. Yeah. And I mean, just from, I wouldn't say a company perspective, but just from a personal perspective, it would be embarrassing, or it would just feel awful to have your name attached to this thing that, I would, where the size and number of projects now, where I can't say, oh, everything is the best ever. Obviously that's not true, but, we have a internal and sort of myself, I have this threshold of thing. This thing needs to be good enough. I can't know that there's something obviously
part of your philosophy. Yeah,
I'd say. And so that's what I'd say does drive, me and us a lot. And, I guess I do think there's a sweet spot in terms of, I don't think that you can have a team of dispassionate people who are not really interested in doing good stuff. And so at least for me, my regret is I know sometimes I'll take it too far. I wish I didn't push that hard during that time, but I think, in general, you push a bit often, all the time, like, cause, people are at 70% or 80% of what they do in by default, maybe.
You're coming in swinging. There's so much to unpack there. Yeah. Before people get pissed off, let's concisely describe in one sentence what is SnappyMob.
Right. So SnappyMob is an app, a mobile and web app development agency, and we essentially help other companies, develop products that they might not be able to develop on their own.
You've been doing this for
8 years now.
Yeah, 8 years now. So a few more years, going to come up to a decade.
Yep.
So and definitely a lot of learnings there.
Yep. We've learned a lot ourselves. I've learned a lot myself.
Okay, so 2 follow-ups from that. So now we know what SnappyMob is and kind of a little bit who you are. First question is, where do you think that philosophy comes from? Right? I read a few of your PR and I feel this is a point you're honing on. And I feel that's also been your selling point when we first approached you for our first development project with Jetsbury. Right? Where is this rooted in?
Honestly, if I'd pick a kind of singular moment, it probably is from my time in university. And
University of San Diego?
Yeah, in San Diego. Because we were pushed really hard, in classes, and it was definitely a very different experience from anything that came before it in terms of level of challenge, level of expectations. For our, we didn't even have programming classes. We just had computer science classes, and they toss you in and say, "Here's the project, then go figure it out." And you not only do you have to figure it out, if you want to do well, it has to be good. Whatever you come up with, and we, I think if I had to pinpoint, honestly, I can't really say, but I guess that really helped to start shaping the types of things.
So nothing further back, you think?
Honestly, I don't think so, because before that I was pretty
chill,
you know.
Life was good.
Yeah, life is good, not a care in the world. I mean, I kind of liked doing, you know, development here and there, but I wouldn't say I was approaching it from a very disciplined perspective.
So no one in your household is this. No one in your family cares too much about something, because it sounds very particular, right?
Well, actually, I guess my siblings do. So maybe, I mean, I have typical parents who are pushing the kids hard, I guess.
Tiger parents.
Yeah, but actually, with me, they were really lax compared to my
Are you
siblings.
the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
Yeah, youngest.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I'm the youngest. So
you got off easy.
Yeah, I got off really easy. I could pick what I wanted to do, but my elder sister and brother, they were go be doctors, became doctors, still doctors, you know.
Good children that listen.
Yeah, you know, and my grades were okay-ish, but not really good.
Okay.
And I wasn't really pressured into, you have to be a doctor, or maybe it doesn't seem grades are good enough to.
How did you get to University of San Diego if your grades weren't good enough? That sounds tough. I mean, it's a pretty good program, right? Especially for you to computer science, or?
Yeah, I'd say a place that's pretty rigorous, especially if you're there. It's not necessarily like name brand.
Okay,
some others.
Right.
But I rate it as a pretty.
But UC in general is just high quality, I'd say, right?
Yeah. Well, I'd say if you care, you're there, if you care, then you can really
get
something out of it. If you don't care, like, you can still get through, I think. A lot of my classmates with that. Yeah. So if you take advantage of it, it's a really awesome experience, I think. But for me, so I just wanted to go study in the US for some reason, and then
you watch a lot of TV.
Yes,
yeah,
yes, like comics, TV, you know, all that stuff.
American soft culture for the power.
Yes. And then I was like, okay, you know, where do you want to study? I literally had no idea, so I was like, well, US seems good. You know.
And then why California?
Well, obviously, I mean, you know, that's the name you see all over.
Is it?
Yeah, like, I guess, from here at least.
What were you consuming? I mean, because there's New York.
Well, true, I guess. Yeah. That's true, to be fair. Yeah.
Somehow West Coast stuck with you.
Yeah, so very West Coast oriented. And actually, I guess I was kind of into tech in general. So I was trying to figure out, okay, if I go somewhere in California, I maybe can end up in some company over there. That's sort of the thinking.
What does that mean you were into tech back then?
Oh, just reading. If I read
loosely.
Yeah, really loosely. If I read the newspaper, I was like into gadgets and games and computers.
That's almost every probably science background, right?
Yeah. It really is.
Very, very typical.
Yeah, but I wasn't someone who was.
Were you a tinkerer? Hacker?
Just a tiny bit. Nothing compared to some people I know.
Yeah.
Like I'd be doing really basic kind of programming, but not doing any projects, you know, or I think serious. Yeah.
Fair enough.
But then, so I got into, so first I went to community college.
Okay. So that's what, Ventura College. Ventura College was that in California?
Yeah. It's like, this small, well, not that small, but kind of, it's a county, 30, 40 miles north of LA.
Okay.
And that's pretty nice, like a beach town kind of place. So then I went there, I got a bit of a culture shock because, you know, all my classes are just like,
it's community college.
Yeah, it's like liberal arts and stuff, you know. And I was like, how come I'm not learning any programming? Like, I didn't really, you know, computer science programming.
Was there a computer science class for community college?
There were. So I ended up taking a few. So it took a while to kind of, I mean, this should have come before, I guess, but it took a while after for me to navigate and figure out, oh, okay, you know, this is what I have to do if I want to go and study, you know.
Well, you figured out by yourself then, though, right?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Lots of reading and just, you know, talking to counselors. And
I mean, something must have clicked in your environment, people you're surrounded with, or you just were stuck in a bad place, or?
Well, I think culture shock was pretty good because it gives you something to do. Something to focus on. So, okay, yeah, this is shocking. This is very different, and you don't really have friends or you know, anyone to talk to yet. And so, you know, maybe it's a good reset, I think, maybe. Yeah. And so then I got really into, you know, the classes, figure out which classes I need to take, figure out, what I needed to do to kind of get into some CS program somewhere.
Okay.
And then I fixated on that a lot, I guess. So, after the first
year?
Yeah. First semester.
First semester. Okay.
Yeah. Because they were using semesters. That got me really, I just latched on and did pretty well. Then, did that for 2 years.
Which means you had a knack for it then.
Yeah. After the initial culture shock, I actually really enjoyed it. Even so, at first I thought, man, what's going on? Like I just have one programming class. It's not even, it's not even CS or anything,
Yeah.
But then all the rest of the stuff ended up being really enjoyable. Even for community college. And I still kind of respect that now because all my teachers, my lecturers, they really got me into almost every single class. Random classes were just really good, logic, American history, whatever it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just random classes.
Okay. More liberal arts.
Yeah, like I really enjoyed them actually.
Okay, I see what you mean. So you actually started to embrace the system, the schooling, the education.
Yeah. And then we had one astronomy class, and that was awesome.
That sounds so American, liberal arts.
Yeah,
that's not my experience.
I can't explain how awesome that class was, because you had to do all these things you never do in Malaysia, right? By the end of the semester, you have to go, write a report about, the solar system or whatever, And
Did you have to wake up at 4 a.m. and then go look at the stars somewhere deep in the forest?
Yeah, no, actually, it's kind of cool because we're in north of LA, right? And so I had to do this kind of solo field trip to Griffith Park in LA.
National Park?
It's not a national park. It's actually right in, I'm probably getting geography wrong, but it's right next to Hollywood or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's this big hill on LA, and you see it in some movies. They always film from there. You get this great vantage point of LA, actually. So I had to go there, right? Do lots of research, write a paper, all that stuff. And then, but yeah, it was cool, very engaging. I think that's the word I'd use. Very engaging if you care. Yeah. And so I think stuff that got me into the swing of things.
Okay. Then you just basically started to care.
Yeah. About things in general. Yeah.
Anything about the California culture then?
I'd say, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say even before university, the teaching regimen, or maybe just the ones I kind of encountered, they were very, I think, rigorous. That's the way.
That means this was a pretty high quality community college then.
I mean, it's a community college, but this guy's, he has a PhD from Caltech. She has a PhD from Berkeley, and they are teaching.
I feel my community college in New Jersey was very different.
Really? Okay. All right.
I mean, I don't think it's bad either, and I think you're probably right. It's what you make of it.
Right.
But I guess it's a very viable proposition because people always talk about that, right? Go to community college first for 2 years,
right?
And then transfer to the school that you want to go to, as long as you do well and you care.
Yeah. I at that point, I didn't even really, honestly, if you asked me back then, my first year, which universities you want to go to, I'd be, I don't know, which one's good? What does good mean?
Okay, so you didn't even know about universities
I didn't know anything.
To be fair, I think most people were that.
Yeah.
At least I was probably. Yeah. I just knew I wanted to be in the city, and I just applied to the schools that only would accept. I obviously couldn't get into Columbia or NYU. I went to Fordham then, right? So
Cool.
So before we continue with that, I kind of want to go back. What are some of the clients that SnappyMob serves, have served globally or locally that are big? Cool. That maybe someone that might recognize.
Yeah, sure. I mean, JetSpree, of course. It's been a while.
I don't know if people are going to recognize that. We've barely found product market fit, then COVID hit, and it's travel related. So, and then I left.
Right.
So yeah.
We've got sort of a more diverse clientele nowadays. It used to be when we started very foreign clients because those were where our friends were from and contacts were from. But nowadays, I guess locally, some names that kind of stand out, I guess, would be Star. We've done a few projects with the Star.
The Star, group. Okay, the media.
Yep. Media
it's probably the largest newspaper in Malaysia, probably.
Yep,
right?
Yep. We actually don't work on newspaper though. We've been doing a lot of work on the radio side of things.
Yeah, I met the chairman one day, and they do a lot of investments.
Oh, cool.
They have a lot of things outside the Malaysia.
They do.
And they have a lot of money.
They do.
Even though the newspaper side I heard was not doing too well from other people.
And this year is not a good year for media in general.
It's not. Depending. I think podcasts are doing
That's
great.
true. The podcasts are doing well. Like podcast is where you want to be right now.
Yeah.
And we've done work for CIMB Foundation, I guess.
CIMB, one of the largest banks in Malaysia. Right?
CIMB, yeah. So that was a pretty good project. It's kind of something we're pretty proud of. We've been doing quite a bit of work for the University of Adelaide, and so that's
Australia.
In Australia. So that's a pretty big project. We've been working on that for a while. Also something I'm personally proud of, but it's a bit more of a research businessy system. So,
but I mean, these have helped you grow a lot. When I first approached you 3-4 years ago, you in a much smaller office, maybe twice the size of this conference room, or even smaller.
Yeah.
Right, and then you had a team of 10.
I think.
20?
When we did Jetspree, we had like
20?
6 or 7.
6 or 7, even so. 6 or 7, right?
Yeah.
And now you've grown to 40 people?
Yeah, I think actually right now we're just a couple people below 60 actually.
60 people now. And that's, wow, that's massive, especially for a development agency company in Malaysia, right? Yeah. That means it's getting to be one of the bigger ones, would you say?
So I from my perspective, I call it maybe more medium sized, because we're definitely not in the same league as the consultancies, the large ones.
But those guys don't care about quality.
Well, I don't want to put words in one's mouth, but I know what we care.
I'll say it.
I know what we care about.
Okay.
But I mean, to be fair though, as you scale, it gets tougher to maintain quality, even if you care. You really have to.
That's something we're going to talk about for sure. So let's briefly go over your history very quickly. Born and raised in KL?
No, actually in Perak.
Oh, Perak.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
and what does that mean again?
Silver.
Silver
right?
State. Silver State. But no silver there.
No. Tin. It's like
tin, right? Yeah. Okay. So I didn't know that. So then your family's still there?
Family's still there. Okay. Well, parents.
Okay. Your parents are still there.
Siblings but outside of Malaysia.
But now KL is Kuala Lumpur is your home now?
Yep.
So then you said earlier you got your start at Ventura College, which I now know is a community college, which you did for 2 years.
Yep.
And then you did 3 years at University of San Diego.
Yep, University of California, San Diego.
Sorry, University of California. Oh, sorry, it says there's another one.
There is. The U.S. University of San Diego.
It's not a UC.
It's not a UC, but it's also very focused on, if you said you went to University of San Diego, I'd be are you a lawyer? Because that's what they were really known for.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you did an internship at San Diego Supercomputer Center?
Yeah, that was my real first
interaction with tech?
Yeah, well, I'd say I'd almost call it commercial experience, just because the work that we did was hardcore, I guess is the way I put it.
What is it exactly? So people don't, because I don't think people will know it.
Yeah. I guess it might get.
Is it an actual supercomputer?
It's one of there's an actual supercomputer center in the university, and supercomputer really does mean there was a supercomputer back then, which is supercomputers then were a bit different from how they are nowadays. Okay. But anyway, it's basically a research center, and then I got in through some research kind of program or. It wasn't quite an internship. It was really a undergraduate research experience. Okay,
program. So it was actual research, real research experience.
Yep. And so did that for a while, and I'd say that was also another kind of formative experience, because you're working with really
intense researchers.
Like, yes, that's
cream
great.
Of the creme, right?
And you feel, am I supposed to be here?
That's after 1 year of being in UCSD, right?
Yep.
How do you come from not caring to somewhat caring to jumping to UCSD, and now you are working in this intense research?
Yeah, well, I guess that was a small application. Are you interested in this?
That must mean
lots of people apply, and you get.
Well, there you go. A lot of people are applying. That means you stood out then.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know.
Are you being modest?
I guess they definitely look at academic performance. So, my grades were pretty good. Okay, so you started doing well. Like this, you really hit your stride when you started going to university. Well, actually, even in community college, that's when it started to build. Yeah, exactly. Right? And you followed through. Yeah. Okay. And I wouldn't even, personally, I don't even think that's necessarily that important. Even back then, I didn't even think that was that important myself. It wasn't even my parents didn't really care, honestly. They never asked me, what are your grades? Because I think they expected to be disappointed.
You're the youngest son. Like,
Yeah,
okay, just do whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that was really good as an experience because the types of things that were assigned to me, number one, it was real development, real like researchy stuff. And I mean, I'll say right now, the type of work I was doing would be more in terms of level of depth or complexity, more challenging than the stuff we do today.
Yeah.
In actual work,
of course.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I guess that's good because it really like sends you out to the extremes and see, you know, it kind of makes you, you know, challenge yourself, explore.
How much of your work was more mathematical versus coding, computing, development?
I think quite a bit, actually.
Quite a bit of math.
Quite a bit, yeah. I wouldn't say math, but perhaps theoretical.
More theoretical.
Yeah,
okay.
read papers, that kind of stuff,
okay.
you know, reports.
Cutting edge stuff then.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't, maybe, you know what, I don't want to represent a cutting edge, but it's definitely
okay, fine.
Yeah,
in that context.
Academic.
And as much as a entry researcher can do.
Yeah.
Then you moved on to after you graduated, right? Then you go to FactSet Research Systems.
Yep.
What is that?
And so FactSet is they're a very successful company. You should have bought.
Is it?
I wish I kept shares.
Oh, so you sold shares?
No. Like they're actually Bloomberg actually.
Okay.
So they're competitive Bloomberg even today. So, you know, Bloomberg, the primary business model is provide really expensive terminals.
And this is based in San Francisco. So you moved to San Francisco.
Yeah. They were actually in the Bay Area, so not quite San Francisco. They were in San Mateo, really nice city.
For me, as someone from the East Coast, it's the same thing.
Fine.
I really
But they were in San Mateo, which is
okay. Understand.
You know what?
It's across the water.
I enjoy that. That's a really nice city. I can't talk it up.
But then what happened? You were only there for a year?
Yeah. So, I was there for a year, but I will say FactSet was intense, in terms of, I'm really happy I joined them because the craft of software development there was really top notch, you know. So my colleagues were at Stanford, Berkeley, Carnegie Mellon guys.
Okay. Top engineers basically from everywhere.
Top level. Yeah. My bosses were just awesome as well. You know, really smart, really challenging, good bosses, you know. And the type of work you got was this proper challenge, you know, like, and it's another of those environments where if you cared about things and, you know, you just have to do your own research.
Was this early in their competition with Bloomberg or mid or late or they're a mature company already?
They're pretty mature.
Okay.
Yeah. And, they're, you know, you can look them up. Their ticker is FDS, but, they're,
okay. So when you joined them, they're already public.
They were already public. Yeah.
And you should have held onto their stock basically that you bought.
I should have. Like, I don't even want to tell the story because
come on, people want to hear it.
Well, so we had this stock program, right? Stock options for employees.
Okay. So there was
okay. Yeah. Sorry. Not options. Sorry. Actual. You can like purchase shares.
But that's options. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like
not
at a discount.
Yeah.
15% or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, back then, you know, this is 2005, so obviously that's inflation. But you know, I can't remember. It was like 20 or 30 USD per share. And after your discount, you might be low 20s, you know, something like that. And I think now it's 300 USD or whatever.
That would have been a very good return.
It would have been a good return, you know, and I didn't even care. I was just dumb. I was like, oh, how much of your paycheck do you want to, you know,
you were young,
purchase?
I guess.
Yeah. So I was like, whatever. What does this mean? I don't know any about it. I know computers now. I don't know like all this.
Well, that's a lesson for young people on the tech side or even the business side, right?
I know.
The power of compounding.
It is.
And how valuable it could be.
And FDS, FactSet is actually really cool if you look them up. They're one of the companies where they actually encourage the software engineers to kind of go for, you know, CPA, CFA.
Ah, interesting. Well,
because they're in the business, right?
That makes sense, right?
Yep. And I dealt with those kind of systems, so I kind of knew a bit.
How well is that well received as engineers being told to get a CPA? Say you're a young guy back then, and someone's telling you to get a CPA.
Oh, my first thing would be, what's that? You know?
Okay.
Like when they told me, I was like, what is that? Like, why? What does this do?
So you find out what it is, and then what's your reaction?
I was actually pretty into it because I was like,
really?
Yeah, I was like, that seems useful, I guess.
I feel I've met quite a few engineers in my career in building tech companies where I tell them to sit on customer service to talk to users, and they'll do it. And after one or two times, they're burned out and they hate it. Why do I need to do this? I don't need to do this to do my job. Right. So I felt that interesting mindset that you would adopt.
Yeah, it is. You know what? I'll tell some stories later, but same thing over here. You know, developers and engineers, they are. Now I've come to recognize, you know, developers, you know, and engineers and myself as special creatures that sometimes need some management to.
It's a nice diplomatic way of putting it, I guess. Yes. But I kind of can see that sentiment. But coming from an outside of a non-technical background, you can sense it a little bit faster, I think.
Yeah.
Or you will sense something different for sure.
Yeah.
And then as you develop working a relationship over time, then you could say, yeah, this needs something else.
I definitely frame it that. Yes.
And I think it's better you saying that than me saying that, because I'm not a technical guy. This just comes off as very arrogant or something.
It is very, it's fair, but you know,
not in a bad way, right?
Yeah,
it's in a way to make things work.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so FactSet is very interesting. I didn't know that, and that means probably they got to work on their branding. Maybe it's East Coast is dominated by Bloomberg, and
they are in they're headquartered in Connecticut, man. I went I was there for like a month and a half of training. You know,
Greenwich or
not Greenwich. They were in Norwalk. You know?
Okay.
So we would. But, you know, on the weekends, we would just go everywhere. I mean,
that's
New
nice.
York City every weekend.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, very accessible from Connecticut. Okay, so then why not stay in San Francisco? You left.
Yeah, so I wasn't really looking to move, but then one of my, I think the proper term is lecturers from UCSD.
Okay.
He started, he founded a startup.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's Pixel Active.
Yeah, Pixel Active. And,
that's quite a rare opportunity, actually. One of your professors calls you up. Is he?
Yeah. And he wasn't even a professor. I mean, so his name is Steve Rodenberg.
Steve Rodenberg.
Yeah. And he's flat out genius, literally a genius. He didn't even, I can't remember. He didn't even graduate high school. He just dropped out because he was just too smart, and he went right, into working for this company called Angel Studios, I think, which transformed into Rockstar San Diego, which got bought out by Take-Two now, whatever. But he was one of the original tech guys at Rockstar, you know, the company that makes, you know, Red Dead.
It's basically a startup studio.
Yeah.
And
really successful.
Very successful from San Diego.
Yep. And so he's basically a serial entrepreneur now.
So he's still active, still churning out.
Yeah, actually, interesting enough. So then he started Pixel Active. So I was looking for some early employees. Reached out to me, I think. I'm pretty sure he reached out to me, not the other way around. And I just saw that, like, oh, cool, opportunity. This seems sexy.
Because you were based in San Francisco, so you must have absorbed the tech scene, the culture, the idea of being a founder and being a techie. Would you consider yourself a tech bro back then?
Yeah. I was still a bit immature, I guess. So yeah,
in a sense,
I'm definitely absorbing all of it, and you know, into things, I guess. But and he was my favorite lecturer again. He's not a professor. He doesn't even.
He was just a lecturer.
Yeah, he was just guest lecturer.
What's his name again? Steve
Rodenberg.
Steve Rodenberg. Yeah. Okay, I have to check him out later. This.
And so I went to join, and that job was proper R&D and coding and whatnot. It was all.
What was the startup trying to solve?
They were creating this tool for editing a world. So think of it as, you know, in video games, you have level editors where you can really build out a level for the video game. And so, this was pretty much that tool, but applied to, real world geography, real world roads, real world, context. And so, the kind of market for it would be actual video games as well. Here's a tool. They were a tools company, I guess. And here's a tool that you can use to build your game levels, but also for simulation. And so examples would be, I think they got the US military as like maybe checking out evaluating a tool as well as, you know, here's a tool if you want to build a 3D environment really quickly.
Interesting. Okay. Tools to build real world 3D environments.
Yep. And it did some very difficult.
That sounds very very tech.
It is. Yeah.
Very intense.
And my teammates who are all much smarter than me, I feel bad.
You always say this, but you're always there with supercomputers and
they were really smart and natty. Some of them, even today, I'll be, wow, this guy was, you know, amazing at this particular thing, you know. And it was very math heavy. So we're doing lots of computer graphics, rendering, the theory part of it.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of just novel problems, just using your mouse, and just clicking on the screen, and you're laying out roads that, just by clicking a bunch of points, there's a road that's generated and rendered with intersections, traffic lights, and all this stuff that literally look real. Yeah. Real things, that's just generated automatically without, the traditional processes. Artists would actually have to go in and hand draw things.
This is 2006.
Yeah.
This is before the whole boom of everything.
There's still videos on YouTube. If you go look and you search for Pixel Active, you might actually see some of the videos. And even today, they're kind of okay-ish. But then if you have kind of keep the context in mind from 2000,
yes, correct,
5 and 6, this is
revolutionary.
Yeah, really cool. And so, I think startup wise, that was pretty good. They did struggle a bit in terms of finding the market, just because it's
probably applying it to a product market fit.
It's not consumer. It's like very, you have a certain customers. Each seat for the software was really expensive, But
I mean, the technology back then was new, so the cost would be higher and it had to be very niche.
And then the kind of business models, the business models you have back then and now were really
so different.
Yeah, it's very per seat, 2,000 USD per seat, 10,000 USD per seat. That's how you sold to your customers. You're like, oh, how large is your team? And then each seat is this amount, and that was really cool. Really,
you built your chops for startups there, basically.
Yeah, that was cool. And even when I left, it was just 5 or 6 people, I think.
And you were there for 2 years.
Yeah, better. Yeah, I think just about 2 years, or a bit more than 2 years, actually.
So, what would I feel this kind of technology, what would be the modern day? I feel it now would be more useful, right? In terms of what you do
actually. And depending on your context, you probably do use bits and pieces of it, because they ended up after I left, and did it really well. I think they got acquired by Nokia. And then
before the Microsoft.
Before that. And then, so they got acquired Nokia into this, I think the name was here, which is the technology arm. But that was they focus on maps and geo.
I think Nokia had the best maps in the world.
Exactly. So basically that arm kind of bought them out. And then after that, Microsoft, kind of, took Nokia over. They were like part of Microsoft. It's interesting. And then,
that's what I felt. That's when you first described it to me. It sounds just that makes sense for the map technology we have today, right?
Yeah. And then I kind of followed. I can't remember where I saw it, like maybe LinkedIn or Twitter. So then I think after that kind of handcuff period, Steve, who I don't really keep in contact with them. Okay. But he founded another company focused on the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Or similar thing.
Okay.
But new problems, but same space, Okay. And so now it's more autonomous driving and stuff. But when I go look at like the technology, I can recognize,
this guy was quite far ahead.
Steve's a proper genius. Like, I can't explain. I can't fairly explain. One day he'll be, he's the CEO, and he's the chief scientist and so on. And then one day he'll be, hey guys, come into my room. I'll show you a demo. And then all of a sudden he's showing you this demo of, a T-Rex walking really realistically. And he just coded that up in, this morning. And wow, okay.
A good way to start your day to make you feel great.
and you feel,
what did I do?
You just feel so small. Oh man, how can I be Steve? I don't think I can, that was really cool. And then he started this startup recently. And this time it was, I felt he got successful really fast, because I saw news about it maybe 2 years ago, 1 year ago. So it looks like that team that I was with and Steve, they started this startup. I think the office is still close to where we used to be. And then I think recently they got acquired by MathWorks or something. But they just got acquired.
So you did it again.
Yeah, really cool. And
how do you feel about that?
That's great. Really, I guess, happy? So.
How come you didn't stay on the rocket ship then, or what happened?
So after about 2.5 years, my ex, she was in Massachusetts, MIT.
Okay.
And so I was, it's really hard to do this long distance thing, actually. Because she was at UCSD as well. Okay. Yeah, and then she went to MIT. So I was
doing her master's.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. Okay. She was doing a PhD.
So she's doing a PhD. Yeah. Okay.
And I was trying to figure out what to do. Yeah. And then I ended up figuring out, okay, maybe I'll try to do an MBA. That seemed interesting. And then so I tried to apply to some programs. Was it because the guys at FactSet told you to talk about CPA and? I can't say that didn't influence it somehow. That got me, I guess, sort of
exposed to it. You're exposed to it.
Yeah. Once you're exposed, you maybe build some interest. I can't say like I was totally.
You're still an engineer at heart.
Yeah, exactly. But there's enough like MBA seems pretty interesting actually. Yeah. So I try to quickly get ready to GMATs, all these things. Lots of applications to a bunch of schools in the area. It was really hard because I didn't really keep in touch with some of my professors, so I had to get like recommendation letters and stuff, and that was somewhat awkward. And then, so I applied to a few places, and I ended up going to. I ended up getting this offer from Boston College, which is they also gave a partial scholarship, which I was pretty happy about because they helped to pay quite a bit of the costs actually. So then I kind of did that.
You went to Boston College?
I went to Boston College.
That's nowhere on your profile.
I dropped out. Okay. So that's why. Okay. So that's why
it's hidden.
I can't say like I attended Boston.
Yeah. Okay. So you were actually there for a while.
I was.
Okay. So you left Pixel Active.
Yep.
To follow a girl.
Yeah, my ex. Yes.
And then Pixel Active took off and made a new company, and did no regrets?
Not really, honestly.
That's good.
Don't necessarily have many regrets, honestly. Yeah.
But you had quite a few interesting opportunities. FactSet, if you stayed, I'm sure that would have been really good.
Yeah.
Right? If you stayed at Pixel Active and followed,
I think opportunity-wise, if we were talking about, if I stayed at one of these companies, like a longer, maybe more senior position.
More equity.
Yeah, more equity. If we're getting equity, just regular pay, just because of how inflated salaries are for that kind of region. Yeah. Even back then I was pretty comfy. I couldn't say I was hurting, and I was just a dumb kid out of college, you know? And so I guess it'd be pretty comfortable. But I wouldn't say it reaches like that threshold of regret or anything.
Okay, so it's not so much where it would have been. It probably would have been life changing, but not exponentially life changing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like it wasn't okay. Look, honestly, if it was the difference between 7 digits, 8 digits, and not having it, okay, fine, maybe. I'd be like, okay, that seems
okay. So it means you were from a starter perspective, they were just compensating you very well with salary then.
Yeah, it was okay. I wouldn't say really, really well, but it's good enough. Like you're happy, you're comfy, you go to work satisfied, I guess. Yeah. And then after that, I guess we might talk about it later. Like, I did that thing where it was this really highly paid consultant. And honestly, that was the most stressful part of my life. Like,
where was this actually? This was...
this was a few years after that. I think 2011.
Oh, 11?
11? Or what? Yeah, probably 11 to 12. Like right before we started this company. Yeah. Where me and another co-founder, we were... somehow ended up in Korea doing consulting for Samsung, and we made a lot of money.
So that's separate from your experience from Netherlands?
Yes, separate, related but
separate.
Yeah, because the work kind of continued from this. It was a similar project from what we did.
So what's the timeline? You went to Boston.
Yeah, so I went to Boston College. I was there for I think a semester, and
then you're like, screw this.
And then I dropped out because that was when this real entrepreneurial thing kind of impetus came up, and really drove me to, you know what, I need to do something.
So you caught the bug, basically.
Yeah, I caught the
you
bug.
wanted to do a startup. You wanted to be a founder.
Yeah, and I guess it was also, I mean, BC was pretty rigorous. Like, we had this, every day you're reading about, you know, entrepreneurship, and literally, you know, every class was here. Read this.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid, basically.
Yeah, they're drinking the Kool-Aid, you know. Day one of, I can't even remember which class it was. You know, day one of this first class, okay, assignment, go read Steve Jobs' Stanford commencement speech, you know.
Wow. I mean, they're basically brainwashing you to drop out.
They are. And, so yeah, I was there. They did okay as well, I guess. But then I was just, you know, why am I doing this? You know,
Well, the motivation was to be closer to your girlfriend. That was probably why, right?
Yeah. And obviously things didn't work out there.
Yeah. So that's why it probably starts to fall apart.
Yeah. And, so, you know, and then I was, you know, why don't I just, you know, maybe now's the time, you know, do my own thing.
Yeah.
And, so that's when it started. And, you know, it's really, so I had been on student visas. I'd been on, H1B visa, and then back to a student visa.
Oh, intense.
Basically, there was no good path back then to kind of just staying in the US and also starting a company.
2012. I mean, I guess unless you went to...
This was 2008 or 9.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's the only way probably is if you go to Microsoft or something, right?
Yeah.
But you probably didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was, okay, you know, I'll do my own thing, do this very take this very life-changing step. And then, so
you founded the company?
Yeah. Well, actually, at that point, I was just starting to get into, you know, that was just about sort of the time when the iPhone started and so on. So I ended up, coming back to Malaysia. And then this was more the indie software kind of period where I just wanted to do open source stuff and build software and sell it and
be real techie.
Yeah, and get really rich or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So I did that well, and you know, I'm glad the prior experience prepped me quite a bit for that, I think.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of competency, in terms of being able to solve
technical rigor.
Yeah, technical rigor. Figure out, you know, the way to solve like tough problems.
Yeah.
You know, if you
from an engineering standpoint.
Yeah, definitely. Very different from if you just want to start from nowhere. You know, like you it's not that you can't, but you might take longer because you don't have the knowledge or tools. Yeah. You know, so that helped a lot. And so I did a lot of stuff. I wrote a bunch of apps, for, you know, the App Store, got some money, not lots. But it was kind of cool. I was actually pretty happy doing, my own thing. I worked on a open source library, that got pretty popular actually for, in the Apple development community. So that felt pretty good from a, you know, techie perspective. You know, you get your brownie points or whatever. And so that made me feel kind of special, I guess. And so I think it was maybe 2 years of doing that where I'd say overall I felt pretty happy, and maybe I was proud of the stuff I was building, but it also started to get to the point where I was like, well, I'm not really making any money at this point, you know. So I was just...
So a few years you're just building things.
Yeah, just building stuff. And it wasn't even from work on a startup idea perspective. It was just really nerdy. I'm just going to build cool stuff, cool open source stuff. I
mean, because I guess from where you're coming from, a lot of people were able to kind of do that, and it did just pivot into something that was really massive, and they were able to sell it, right?
Yeah, definitely. And my perspective is, I mean, what I was trying to do is, I'm just going to build apps, apps that I want to use.
But that's so nice though. You'd have the skill set to be able to do that, you know. Not anyone can just, I'm just going to start building interesting technical things, right?
And, I mean, I built this, and then, you know, this was, I can't remember the dates on the notes, but, you know, so, the first ever iPad got announced, and I was, wow, this is amazing, you know, and I really need to build some things for this thing. And so somehow I got a bunch of iPads shipped from the US. First they get it to me. No jet stream back then. You know? You just need buddies or something. And then so I got them, and then just started developing a bunch of stuff. Wow. You know, I'm actually still, I wonder if I can find, you have to realize this was 10, 12 years ago. I built this so back then you might not remember, but the Notes app that comes with.
Still have it, right? It's still around.
Yeah, it's evolved a lot now. But back then it was really basic.
Yeah, it's quite functional now.
Yeah. And so I was no, first thing, and this is where, you're dumb techie, not thinking about business or making money. I feel I want a better Notes app, so I'm going to build one, And so I went ahead and built one for the iPad. It actually did pretty well. At first I was very dumb. I just released it. I can't remember. Maybe I released it for free first. Yeah. It did really well. It got, top ranked in many countries and so on. But it's a free app, so lots of people download it and lots of good reviews.
Yeah. The reviews were good?
Yeah. Like I was really happy, and I did everything myself, even the icon I did myself.
I mean, like back then it was different. You could actually get real traction.
Yeah. Like it was the economics were very different. In this ecosystem. Yeah. And so, things have evolved to be very mature now. And so on. But back then it was really nice. As an indie, that was the dream. Like, I'm going to write this app. Gonna sell lots of copies, make money, and then
you couldn't monetize
doing it. Yeah. So it was okay, I got enough to maybe eat, but
okay, that's good though.
But not enough to expand, or think bigger. You
just whet the appetite, but
exactly. And so after 2 years of that, but it was a very productive 2 or 3 year period, I guess.
I mean, I feel that would be quite just building a lot constantly. It's got to be transformational somehow.
Oh yeah. In terms of skill set too, if you're an individual and you're just working on this software that's fairly difficult, or fairly challenging pieces of software to write. I mean, that transforms you. That challenge just, gets you to that next level. So you really, at some point something clicks, and then you're that much better in terms of doing development. I was just really doing Apple platform.
How do you know you're better?
Well, I think you don't.
Okay.
Back then.
Okay, so it's more of a reflection.
Yeah. If you look now, maybe now I have a reference point because, we've got a lot of devs, and I can observe them at different stages of their
and you skills. Also, you've had a higher reference point from the US. Past experiences and what you worked on.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's also really massive in terms from an engineering standpoint. You just need to see something much better that runs and works really smoothly.
Yep.
And then you start seeing the other side and you can connect the dots.
Yeah. Like it's a lot easier to take a look and self-reflect and have confidence that I know where our level is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and very honestly do it, not even being self-deceiving.
Yeah. Well, you told me this before. Self-confidence versus self-assurance.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now you feel you have the self-confidence after having enough experience.
Yeah. Because I think
it's not you telling yourself.
Because now a lot of times you feel small and stupid. So you're very conservative. Are we that? Some of our projects will be, how do I put it? We get a challenging project that just sounds they're looking for us and other competitors, but the way they've written the project or the spec out, it seems you need the top level smartest people to do this. And I don't. If I was to read it literally, I'd be should we disqualify ourselves? We'll let other vendors handle it. But I now with enough experience and kind of knowledge of how we work, other people work, the kind of market as a whole, we're confident in saying we're probably as good as, what someone could be at least. So it's not, someone else is just that much better somehow, and better, it's obviously very subjective, but, it's something that helps understand where we are.
So out of 10 projects, how many are you say you're qualified for, and how many are you just throwing out because the team can't do it?
I think for all the projects here,
10 out of 10.
I'd say 9. 9
out of 10,
probably.
Wow. Yeah. So there are actually some really tough projects here.
I think,
or it's just not a good fit, probably.
Yeah, I think let's say technical challenge wise.
Yeah.
I'd really rate us highly. Depending on specific challenge areas, mobile development and so on. But then certain domains, we don't have the requisite knowledge or experience.
Yeah. Okay. So because you could rate on the things that you know that you don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of weird. Where does hubris kick in, and then you find out something because you don't know what you don't know, and then one day you find out you know it. And does it ever happen where you kick yourself down a notch then, or you're like, shit, I'm not as good as I thought?
I'd say yeah, but I mean, there's the day-to-day projects that are fairly typical. Now that we've been doing this a while, and so typically you don't find too many unknowns, I think.
Okay. Like, the ecosystem is pretty well known where in terms of the clients, in terms of innovation, what they need.
Yeah, in terms of what people need. And a lot of the clients they're not looking to be
deep tech,
create radical product or something that, they're, hey, I need an app for my business, which already makes tons of money, and I need a customer portal. There's not necessarily a humongous challenge there.
And I mean, the thing is, you've probably done so many of those.
Yep.
Right. But the question is, do you look at the data in terms of, how successful the product continues, how long it lives, retention, monetization, them coming back for more, or?
Yep. I think, we do. I wouldn't say we do it very rigorously or in terms of necessarily we market ourselves as, we're gonna, here's the service, because, if we do it, it'll generally tend to be goodwill based because in Malaysia, it's still a bit transactional. Here's a project, deliver the project, and that's what they're looking for. Deliver the project. But with a bunch of clients, we've had better success in terms of continuous engagement of, hey, here's how you're doing, why don't you try this? This will, increase your retention, this will reduce your churn. Hey, this part of your app isn't doing so well. How about you try this instead? So like I myself, I'm like really happy when we do it. And we generally will, where we can, we'll just kind of informally, give the treatment or this kind of treatment to the app itself. But in terms of formal engagements where we focus on this, it's not something that we've had lots of traction with necessarily. Even with small engagements, the ones that we've had are really more technical. I'm having a problem with this part of my system, help me solve it, I'll pay money for that, but to get in that conversation, where you're really focused on, let's say, a product or, some marketing engineering, something like that, it really has been more like biased towards startups. For example, JetSpree and some other, we do work with a few startups. They tend to be funded or they've kind of found some fit. So for those companies, we'll tend to have a bit more of a collaborative relationship, especially, the person we talk to is the boss of the company. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. Okay. Let's finish your story though. So you came back and you were building a lot of, tech apps, right?
So then I think I ended at some point I was like,
it's enough.
I still have money, but I have less money now, and I guess it can't continue forever. So I honestly, I wasn't actively looking for a job, but I was still really into this. I'd say specifically this Apple development community. And then I found this, I think probably on Twitter or something, this job posting from a company that I kind of knew about. It was pretty...
Like Nick?
Yeah, they're a boutique company. Egenic, actually.
Egenic.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Dutch, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it's Dutch, yeah.
Okay.
And so I applied for them because I saw the ad and, it was a boutique small company and, when I looked at them, it seemed really, really cool.
Being in the Netherlands.
Yeah. And I thought, Netherlands. And then actually back then, even now, there was this kind of movement called Amsterdam,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you Google it, you'll see it. But there's this kind of movement too. It was the sort of start of this kind of app development movement. And I can't remember who, but there's this community forming. And that really was one of the, if not Silicon Valley, where else, where all this kind of nests of technology companies and people, I guess, in the world. So that they had a good concentration of development in terms of mobile and Apple, whatnot. So I just applied, and somehow got through the process. The small company, so I was just talking to founders and so on, and lucked out, managed to get there.
They were able to get you a visa and everything.
Yeah, I did all that. Like, all the paperwork, everything. They were, even back then, they were a remote first company. So even though I was in Amsterdam, and Amsterdam was another culture shock, even though I didn't.
Really?
Yeah, a bit of culture shock, really.
In what sense?
Yeah, almost everything, really. Like, yeah, I mean, how to put it? And I guess I'd say California to Amsterdam, right?
Yeah. California's pretty liberal already.
It is. Well, actually, Amsterdam's super liberal, so
even more.
So that part was not
okay.
I mean, people just everywhere just smell pot everywhere.
Everywhere. You know? Okay. So it's not just in the movies; it's real.
Yeah, and literally people walking out and say, "Hey, you want some crack?" And I'm like, "No,
no, thank you. I'm good. Not today.
Not now. No." Like, but the culture shock was, I guess, more administrative. So to find a place to stay, an apartment and so on. It wasn't just go on Craigslist, find something. It's really, you have to use this, their equivalent of Craigslist, I guess. But everything was so everyone speaks English. They speak like English better, probably syntactically, grammatically better than Americans even, obviously. And so it's fine. But then to find that housing, it was a bit difficult because you had to use this site and it was mostly in Dutch. So you kind of have to translate. And then the other thing too is they have also sorts of rules because I guess maybe it's, I don't know how SF is now, but once you find a place to stay, you have to register with
the police.
I think it was more the the administrative unit.
It sounds very communist, man. In Vietnam, it's the same way. Even today.
No, it did. Like, and so you have 30 days to, within 30 days, you have to blah, blah, blah. And then to get my visa finalized and stuff, there's just all sorts of, procedural things to get through, even once I was there. And then to get, housing, I guess, there's rent control or something, so, not every vacancy is like available to everyone, that kind of thing. Yeah. So that was one thing that was a bit, I wouldn't say difficult, but different to deal with. And then, other culture shock. I mean, so I guess it's more European city. And so I've been in Europe before, but I mean, so now if you're really living in this European city, it's totally different from California. Just everything,
people, culture, how they talk, everything.
Shops open. Like everything closed at 6 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. So it's, where do I get toothpaste? To buy toothpaste. I enjoyed the food, overall, but it's definitely less variety,
Okay.
Type of city. The good thing is walk everywhere.
Bike everywhere.
Yeah, I got a bike, everywhere. I would literally just walk from one end of Amsterdam to the other, like. That's
nice. Very picturesque, right?
Yeah, it's great, Yeah. Then you didn't even have to learn Dutch if you didn't want to, because literally everyone, like when you try to speak Dutch, they seem they're annoyed. And,
well, I'm sure they saw your face. They don't expect you to speak Dutch.
Yeah, so. No, number one, pronouncing it wrong. Number two, you're wasting my time. So just speak English.
Sounds a bit Parisian.
I know. And so that was, very different culture. Yeah. And then, same thing with bank, to get a bank account open, it was a really weird process because it's not, actually Malaysia, you can walk into, to bank, Maybank, go to Maybank. Even California, I was like, okay, you need a bank account, go to Bank of America. Nice, very nice office with like lots of people who service you. But there was by appointment only, you get,
interesting.
So I think, what did I use? I think ABN AMRO is one of the banks.
Okay.
And so it would be by appointment only. You have to register, say what you want to do. And when you go to the actual bank in Amsterdam, it's this tiny corner thing that doesn't look like a bank. It looks, I don't know, it looks like a real estate agency with two tables. It looks nothing like a bank. No, obviously no safe or anything, because everything's cashless. And so you go there, do all the paperwork and so on. And then that's it. But so that part was really weird. And I had to, I can't just walk to a bank, stuff like that.
I mean, is that weird, or is it just they're ahead?
Yeah, I think ahead.
Just ahead.
And it might be maybe more of an Amsterdam thing because real estate is very limited. And so, maybe that's how they needed to do it in that area. And
you're only there for a short time. What happened? What were you working on, and why did you leave so soon?
Well, so Eugenic was really, number one, really good. I'm lucky enough to still be in contact with
the founders. Also in app development.
Yeah, app development. I mean, if I had to say what company I strive to be most as a company, it would be Egenik. Egenik, yeah.
Egenik, I'm sorry. I know. Dutch. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Because I honestly feel they did everything right. I mean, in terms of
how do you know?
Because I guess past experiences and stuff.
Okay, so you've seen, you've seen it's a high bar. They're living up to at least what you know.
Yeah, even more so.
Even more so,
I would say.
So it means you learned and grew more then.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Like I'm really glad I worked for them actually, because they, number one, whatever they developed, really high quality, and so I got to work on projects that, when you look at it, when you work on it, okay, yeah, this is the way I do apps for this kind of project for this media company.
And this is matching the high profile clients as well? Or?
Oh, they had, well, the Netherlands is not a large market, but they basically have clients in the Netherlands and sort of the broader EU region. Okay. And they're not a very large company anyway. I think they're still maybe 40 or 50, maybe about the same size as us now.
The same size as SnappyMob now.
Yeah. But I mean, the honest truth is they are, person for person, far stronger than we are.
Well, to be fair though, where does this culture and ability to draw talent come from? Is it all from Amsterdam or from all around the world?
They are concentrated more on Dutch and European talent, I think.
So they're pulling from the best schools and best job markets all around Europe.
But that's the thing, in that's a cultural thing, the sort of the societal thing that you wouldn't need, and especially in the Netherlands, you don't necessarily need to care too much about the schools.
True. Yeah, it's
all the schools are like
very Scandinavian, right? It's kind of given.
It's really
free education.
Yeah, Germany, Scandinavia, Netherlands, and so on. Like, oh, you went to technical university, you're pretty good for sure. You know, like that's the notion. You're good enough, I guess. Maybe.
Well, it's because they split them off very early.
Yeah.
Right?
And the thing is, how do I put it? Even the people I worked with, I'd say compared to something FactSet where everyone was Stanford and Berkeley, fine, they were really smart.
Yeah.
Maybe in general that there were people who were maybe not that they weren't good, but maybe not quite as strong as this really smart guy from Berkeley or whatever. Mm-hmm. But on average, like all the devs I met at meetups and so on, just solid in terms of community. Like anyone you talk to, everyone's pretty good.
I think it's a product of the schooling system.
Oh yeah. Like it starts early.
It's if you cannot perform in school, you become a trades person. And if not, you're going to the best universities.
But not even that. Even even for me, people I met, some of them they didn't even go to good schools or whatever. They were just interested in tech stuff. And I feel there's something else.
It must be cultural then. A focus on craftsmanship.
Yeah, exactly. And especially in the Netherlands, I'd say the average level of technical knowledge or education, plus the other thing too that really influenced me was design. Yeah, is surprisingly high. So much higher than.
Would you say specific to Amsterdam, or is this a general European thing?
I don't know about general European because I don't have enough knowledge, but I'd say. Because our team wasn't only from Amsterdam. Our team was actually
for all over Europe.
You know what? I think I was actually the only person in the team in Amsterdam because I think the rest of the folks, they were in Utrecht, and there's one guy who lived, I can't remember the name, on the border with like Germany or something, because they were a remote team anyway. Yeah. And so I definitely say not Amsterdam only. Mm-hmm. I just happened to. Where do you want to stay? I guess Amsterdam.
Nice. And they said yes.
Sounds nice, I guess.
Even though they're remote, right?
No, because they didn't care. Yeah. It's like, you stay wherever you want, right?
Oh, that's nice.
And then we did meet up every month or 2 months, something like that. And then, so the company was totally remote. Every 2 months, they'd rent a nice kind of place, like a conference, back then, like common ground kind of thing. Yeah. I think one time we rented this really swanky something like that.
Like a villa or something.
Yeah, so something really nice just for that meetup, right? Yeah. So it seems really smart. But everyone I worked with is overall really strong, and they already had very impressive projects.
Is it because they industrialized earlier, modernized earlier? Why do you feel this? Because it's got to be a very different flavor here. Yeah, I mean, craftsmanship has been here for a long time, but to a degree in modernization, it's not the same now, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think So I can't answer that question specifically because I don't have enough knowledge, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I know maybe more than the average Malaysian about, Dutch.
Are you sure you're not being
society.
condescending?
No. I mean, I just.
Oh, well, to be fair, you were there.
Yeah. Well, and then, but I'd say being there, you can definitely tell. I mean, so I can tell. I always tell this story. So I spent a lot of time in the Bay Area. And Amsterdam, sure. Quite a bit of time there. Spent a lot of time. Actually, I did even before I went to Boston College. I'd be in Boston pretty often.
Okay, so you would just go in.
Just go. I would literally.
Well, actually, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd fly.
Yeah,
I'd literally fly.
Yeah. Any chance you had, probably. Right?
Yeah. It cost a lot.
It did. Yeah, you were working, right?
Yes. I was. So that's why I could. That's why you could do it.
Yeah.
And honestly, the vibe was really different if you went into the tech scene. And even right now, it's been getting better in Malaysia, but not quite, especially KL. In the Bay Area, literally, if I just go any cafe anywhere, just hang out somewhere, I don't know, at least half of the people around you are just working on something, talking about something, and so on. And this was back then. Now it must be this, it's hard to find someone who's not doing that, maybe.
But plus a lot of noise, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, I did go for a little short trip a couple of years ago. I went to Stanford to Blue Bottle Coffee, and literally when you walk in, you feel, now I'm so jaded, and everyone's, oh my God, everyone has their own thing going on,
Yeah.
And I feel like very left out, maybe.
So that means back then you were in San Fran very early.
Yeah, first job.
And that was a very different flavor of San Fran back then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone, and every podcast I hear, they just say how dumpy it was, and there's just homelessness and pee and crack and drugs everywhere. Yeah. Back then,
so I didn't stay in San Fran per se, but I did go pretty often.
You were on the other side.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's close, right? An hour, 45 minutes?
No. Just, I mean, if there's no traffic, 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. So you're really there.
Yeah, it's like right, I stayed really pretty close to San Francisco airport.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay. Which is actually quite close to the city, right?
And San Francisco airport isn't actually in San Francisco.
Yeah. Most airports.
Yes. So I'd go pretty often. Yeah, it was, well, it wasn't as, actually, I was back in San Fran for same trip a couple of years back. But yeah, it definitely changed quite a bit. Back then it was less dirty, I guess, from the perspective
was the hippie feeling alive still? Or it was, I mean...
Oh, no, less so. I mean, it wasn't super tangible or anything. It just felt like, it's a city, It's kind of...
Yeah. So it's more of a normal city. Not this
definitely.
Kind of...
Yeah. And, I mean, I have been to lots of U.S. cities. I mean, it's kind of Portland, very big version of Portland, something like that, But definitely very liberal, even
fair enough.
Back then, really obviously liberal. I mean, you still have stuff on the street and so on, but not. I mean, from what I hear, really
not as bad.
Terrible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So back to the Asian question then, in terms of craftsmanship, what's missing here and why?
I honestly think it's maybe sort of a deep, I don't know, societal thing maybe, because I mean, obviously, if you say Asia, well, you've got Japan, and obviously they're full on, the craftsmen of whatever they put their
mind. Sure, but even I'm sure if you go back far enough, there's craftsmanship, examples of craftsmanship. It's just that somehow.
Oh no, there's lots of craftsmanship. Actually, in Malaysia, right? I mean, even if you talk about architecture, I mean, actual civil architecture, right? Yeah. Now that I studied more about this, when I have free time, there's really world-class buildings or, examples.
Yeah.
And so on. And the people here, no question, including, our team members, some of them are just totally, you can see them given the right environment and training.
Yeah.
They're
all about that.
They're all about
that. For your team here at SnappyMob, right?
Yeah. But I can't say everyone.
Of course.
Yeah, but certain ones you can see. And so I don't think we lack the supply of...
That's interesting.
Potential, but it's just maybe...
So is it fair to say it hasn't... I mean, craftsmanship has been around, but it hasn't... Is it fair to say it hasn't culturally and societally... It hasn't permeated through for some reason?
Yeah, I think that's very obvious, at least in Malaysia, just because you can see, there's not...
To me, I feel that. I don't know if it's valid, though, but I just feel that.
I think it is, because, I mean, if you're just looking at the real... What you can see, right? What you can observe. I mean, it's very obvious. We're not necessarily particularly we don't show this this kind of culture, this kind of approach in, you know, every aspect of our lives or anything. And you know that if you're talking about tech, right? That's a kind of that different thing where if you're in that Bay Area, every conversation you have, or most of the conversation, everything revolves around how do we build this? Or if you're talking about technology or design or whatever it is, all your conversations revolve around it.
But those are very specific bubbles.
Right? And that's tech specific. Maybe if you're talking about food, like, well, you know, maybe it's less so, you know, something like that. And if you think about that over the years, you know, these are the types of conversations you have every day. For years and years. And that's what you're exposed to. That's why
it builds up this idea of craftsmanship. But then some element of that must have been in Netherlands then.
Oh yeah. No, I'd almost say more so.
More so.
Yeah, more so actually.
Interesting.
It's just that they're very kind of small. It's a tiny country. It's a 14 million, 12 to 14 million people. But they punch like above their weight, you know, if you think about.
Which is very interesting. As a small society, why did you decide to focus on that? Why is India was known for IT at one point, and why is Philippines known for call centers? Why?
Well, I mean, to me, it was, even before I went, it was a bit of a curiosity. There's this tiny little country that they've done lots of great work in tech. Yeah. I was quite focused on design because, you know, the Apple community is very focused on design. And they had this superb design company called Sofa that got bought out by Facebook. It was like back then. Yeah. And they just have like lots and lots of stories, you know, about things happening. And beyond that, 5 nanometer chips or whatever nowadays, like, you know, the production of everything, you know, you think of TSMC, the other people of the fabs manufacturing it. But the thing that makes all of this possible, the lithography of it, all of this comes from this company, ASML, which is a Dutch company, and it's a company you don't know about, but without them, you wouldn't create the iPhone 5 nanometer. A
lot of these things we don't know about in the value chain.
Yeah, and if you just go Google ASML, and you'll see, wow, their business is tight. You know, they're the only company in the world that can produce.
That's how you build monopolies.
No, they are a full-on monopoly. Every fab that wants to manufacture at this scale, it's so high tech that only they can do it. And their timeline for, you know, they're basically getting risk-free investments.
I had no clue about this about the Netherlands. Let's contrast. So you were doing your journey of building apps, and then you just jumped on this opportunity to Netherlands. Now let's contrast what you just told us and what we just learned to South Korea. What happened there?
Well, this was really an extension so I was working with Egenic for a long time. I guess not a long time, sorry, but I was working with them, did a few projects, very proud of them, and you know, I think that gave me like such good experience. You know, it was my first commercial experience for sort of mobile apps and whatnot. I lucked out because they were at the top of the game.
You just had a series of amazing, quite pivotal experiences from university, right?
Yeah, I think I really got kind of lucky. I mean, each one was different, and they sort of gave different experience. You know, and if I look back, the pixel active stuff, I mean, the type of work I was doing, I was reading lots of research papers trying to implement like algorithms from this, you know, paper or conference or whatever. Stuff that doesn't necessarily apply today to anything in particular, but just having that experience is very, I see it as very foundational and useful because it helps you know the territory, or it helps you know what's out there. And then,
I mean, you could hold your own probably to discuss these kind of topics, right?
Yeah. Well, in some of it'd be rusty, but you kind of know how to navigate. If you really need to go back to it. So I think that's the primary. Anything
useful from San Diego supercomputer to Pixel Active?
Oh yeah, I mean,
so it's all helped.
How do I put it? It all really helps. Sometimes because you're young, you don't notice it. Yeah. But in the end, at least for my career so far, everything you kind of pick up and learn, you apply bits of it later. It's very now if I sit back and I think about it, it's just very obvious. You know, like this came.
You're putting back a narrative to it. And, but it does build on each other.
And that's the same thing for our team members. We can see them grow. You know.
You're mentoring and leading the same path, essentially.
And even if they work on different projects, you can see when they encounter this new challenge, you know, I guess I'm building a model of them, but they get to, you know, an outcome that is a bit better, a bit sooner, you know, and you can see it. It's really
it connects. All the projects are connecting.
And
the experiences are building.
In Malaysia, one really interesting thing, like from my viewpoint, is a lot of our team members, they might not, and this is just subliminal. We have some team members that they don't really speak English that well, actually. With some of maybe, they have Chinese kind of education backgrounds. Yeah. So it is a bit of a challenge for them. And that, I wouldn't say that necessarily impacts communication, but at least the language skill for English is not so good. They find it very difficult to talk and express themselves sometimes. But it's a clock, 1 year, 2 years after kind of working here, if you just hold a conversation with this person, all of a sudden you don't notice it because it's day to day, but if you just think back, wow, this person, you're just having this conversation that you totally could not versus 2 years ago. And that's like the kind of example.
I know what you're talking about. I had that experience with JetSpree, actually. So some of the staff just writing emails in English was just so bad. But after a few years of getting used to the pace and the language and engaging,
all of a sudden, like,
everyone's on par and you see the growth.
Exactly. And same with some of our even more senior people. They're really good. And I'll be, hey, when sometimes they've never had a particular experience, they've never had a conversation with a client, but I'll be like, okay, let's talk to this client. And I don't know if they'll see how I communicate with the client, or maybe I'll give feedback after we have that discussion to them. Hey, when you talk with this client, this is how to approach the topic and so on. And sometimes it happens really quickly. Wow, like this person really picked up on it really quickly, because like 1 month later, all of a sudden, at the start you'd be, I'm not confident enough in having you communicate independently to the client yet. But then all of a sudden, wait, now I do.
That shows the growth of your team, your leadership, your culture, right?
Yeah, but if I had to be a bit humble about it, I'd be, maybe that would happen anyway, or maybe it's really cultural, just because
there's something there.
Yeah. I mean, it seems,
of course, it's not just one thing. It's a combination of it happening together.
The immersion, helps. But so I'm really happy about it. But that's also where there's a lot of potential here, because we're a mid-sized country, or slightly below average maybe. But I'm very happy with our team members. We've got diverse.
Well, there goes your challenge as you scale onto the hundreds of employees, right? It's so you've kind of hit it on the nose of. You saw that aspect. The question is, how can you make that an aspect that that everyone kind of understands that, and you can scale it with the company?
Right? I think that's going
to be your challenge now.
Because we've been growing
actually quite fast,
quite a bit in the past 3 years, I think. And opportunity, luck, whatever. And that's been the primary challenge in terms of scaling the number of projects we do, number of people we have.
Makes sense.
Sorry to keep.
No, it's okay. Let's close it off. We're almost done with the story. So South Korea.
So correct. So then after I was done with eGenic, so eGenic ended up sending me to this very well-known company with an office in the US, interestingly enough. So it was my trip.
So you went back to US.
Yes.
Okay.
And in this case, it was in Texas.
Okay.
Richardson, Texas.
Where is that in relation to a big city?
It's really close to Dallas.
Okay, so close to Dallas. I still don't know what that is, but I know Dallas.
Yes. Right next, it's basically KLPJ, that kind of thing.
All right.
And so, so if you go Google Richardson, you'll see that it's like that place where all the telcos are. Okay. Like a large number of them. And so there's this South Korean company office there. And so I was sent there on a very secret project or whatever.
Okay.
I really had no idea what the project was about, other than, it was for this company.
But you got chosen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was actually sort of a senior engineer at eGenic anyway.
Oh, it wasn't because you're also eGenic. Maybe in hindsight.
Maybe, well, you know what? Dallas was a surprising number of Asians there.
Oh, actually, Dallas is huge for you. I think Vietnamese.
Yeah. Like, I ended up eating just
Vietnamese food all the time.
Sorry, all right, Vietnamese food and Chinese food, but actual Chinese food.
Okay,
I had that one time. Like, and oh my god! Like when I went to Richardson, every time we'd have lunch, it'd either be Korean in the cafeteria, or then down the road that's this pho place, and then or this other pho place. Or this other pho place, and it's like just kind of picking which one. And so I went there, and I found out about a project. It was a really interesting, challenging project. The main thing is I got to work with a bunch of other consultants.
Okay.
And, I wasn't really sure what the setup was, honestly, because I was a bit naive and ignorant. But then the other consultants I happened to work with, they were really top notch.
Okay.
We were working together on the same project, I guess, to try to commercialize some product for this Korean company. And the lead consultant, he was this in tech circles very well-known, famous guy.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew about him before already, but I didn't even know I was going to meet him. But then, so he was sort of a mentor, I guess. He was lead consultant and so on. But he was at some point I'll point you to this. I had this blog post, but the blog got taken down. But you can read the story. But this is very interesting.
It's not taken down. I've read it, and
you've read it?
We'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. It's a very.
You can give us the short though.
Yeah, he's a very interesting guy. He's passed, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes, but really, that was honestly very formative because I got to work with this very energetic top of this game, and not just software, just
everything.
Yeah, philosophy and whatnot, like how to manage humans and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's very. I'll tell you these stories offline, Alex. You'll be. I don't know. Maybe you'll be shocked. And so I worked with him. I worked with this guy called Miko there as well. And
so it's a group of consultants. Miko's one of the other consultants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wasn't really a consultant. I was very Genic. So Genic's sort of the consulting company in this case.
Yeah.
But they were really, I think, actual solo consultants or something. So it was lots of details about that really challenging project, really crazy timeline and whatnot. But somehow we managed to pull it off.
Oh, so you pulled it off. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you finished the project.
This project was sort of one of those like products. So, we finished a phase of it, I guess.
Okay. I see.
And it did well enough.
Did it get commercialized?
It did get commercialized, and not only that, it got commercialized, and the part of the product we worked on, when manufacturers, they release phones, yearly, obviously. They always, here are the new features, LiDAR, blah, 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 this app, that app, whatever, And so, the thing we worked on, it got, commercialized, and sort of was one of the tentpole kind of features in the product we were responsible for as the primary developers, architects of it. I got featured as one of the segments in one of the Super Bowl ads, So we were
nice.
pretty stoked about that, I guess.
Nice.
To see it out in the wild.
Yeah.
So, when we got commercialized and got released, and so it was in the hands of hundreds and millions of users and so on.
That's huge.
So it did well enough that basically that contract, they moved the development of the product to their HQ in Korea.
Okay, so you actually did go to Korea then?
Yeah, and it was
interesting.
So very short notice. It was one day, it was a phone call. Okay, can you go to Korea?
From who?
Tomorrow.
From
Eugenic.
Okay.
Because there was it was also maybe the most, I didn't know, but it was now in hindsight political, and there's a lot of politics and stuff going on.
Always the case with big projects and big egos, consultants.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so, can you go to Korea? I guess, I mean, Dallas is okay, But, and some of the team, they had already been in Korea for a while. So then we went to Korea, and then a bunch of other, and then I kind of, it's a bit of a haze, but I was going back to Amsterdam for a week or something first, and whatever, and there was all sorts of hassle because
that must have been tough though, Korea.
Because I was in Korea, we just stayed in 5-star hotels actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they just got it. So it was kind of nice, I guess, from the outside. You're staying in Ritz-Carlton in Seoul or something, for months at a time, that kind of thing. But it was very tiresome. After the first week, it was like.
So you basically burned out then.
Yeah, you burned out. I mean, every day you're just hotel buffet, and then.
So maybe you were the patsy. There was this guy on this.
I know.
We're for these tough Koreans.
I know, and. We really did Korean hours more so just because it was.
So it's not nice working in Korea.
we made a lot of friends.
Okay.
On the team there.
Probably from drinking.
Yeah, drinking, lots of drinking.
Yeah.
We drank a lot. We drank a lot. I do have to say we drank a lot.
I would feel the appreciation for tech would not be the same as Amsterdam, the Valley, Boston.
Oh yeah, very different.
Right? It's more, are you more monkeys and you must code this, or how is it?
Actually, it was, we were the consultants. So I'd say
we
really were consultants.
Okay, so you were treated as more a consultant. Okay.
Yeah. And so we worked with high level people there.
Okay.
Including important people.
So the people that implement.
Yeah, and so we were, what we did was we sort of worked on the prototype. Yeah. And then continued developing the important parts of it. But then we were really helping their team and helping their team take over in QA and leading their team in a sense. Yeah. And so did that for a while. And
did it end nicely?
It ended very interestingly.
Okay, so there's some drama.
Yeah, and there's a lot of drama, and I think actually this was
all the consultants from Richardson also went, or just
all the consultants. We worked in Richardson, but they were all they're all European actually.
Oh, okay.
When I think about it, yeah. So one guy was the really smart guy was Belgian, and then Miko was Finnish.
Okay,
and then there were a couple. There were a couple dudes from Spain.
Okay, so you're still working with the same team, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it kind of just blew up.
Yeah, it definitely blew up. It was very interesting and blew up in interesting ways. And I take back what I said earlier. This is one part where I kind of regret how things happened, and some things that I did, I guess. Yeah.
Do you ever think about resolving them?
Yeah.
I think about that a lot.
I'm very fortunate that I'm still. We've even done projects for Eugenic. And,
you're still in touch with the founders?
Yeah, in touch, and talk to them. Not super often, but once in a while, and we worked on a project for them.
So you're still on a working, friendly basis.
Yeah, and
despite whatever happened.
Yeah. But that I do regret that, and sort of how that turned out in a sense.
Okay.
With them. So, and at some point. I trying to undo some things or, payback for some of the mistakes I made, those things still linger, till today. Yeah. So, there's a lot to unpack. So, I'll probably write about it.
That comes with age. On any tough problem you're solving. Yeah. Something's just going to blow up and you're going to probably not be ready to handle them at the time. Yeah. A combination of things, experience, maturity, mindset.
Yeah. I hope now where I am looking back and with experience, from doing my own things that I kind of, that there was one kind of, if you ask me, I don't think I'll talk about it now, but I'll talk about it in private and at some point more publicly. But there's this one very pivotal kind of singular moment where, I was under high pressure or something like that to make some decision, and then I think I made the wrong one really. Even though in a sense things turned out okay, I'm still here today and so on.
Damn, but I wanted to ask about that later. But because the blog is on the web, so
there's a lot more.
Okay, well let's see. Okay, fine.
Yeah. But that was that one moment where because you make a lot of decisions and choices, right? But this was that it's still fresh in my memory where I can kind of tell, shit, I should have.
And this was in 2012, so we're talking almost 8 years past.
Yeah.
And it's still lingering on your mind.
Yeah, I feel out of everything. I mean, at work, if I go back to my early jobs, I've disagreed with other coworkers, and I wouldn't say fought, but we had arguments. No, this is a bad idea. I don't think. Blah stuff like that.
It's not weighed heavily on a conscience as battle scars.
Yeah. And this one was up till today. I do hope I can rectify it or fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I've recently heard some cliche wisdom advice, right? Without any pain, you're not really growing. Yeah. So the more the pain, the more you're going to grow as a person. Yeah. And if you could actually reflect and accept that, and then. Yeah, I think maybe part of the psyche would be good to try and resolve it. I personally think, but but as you still can learn and grow from it regardless. Yeah. So I think I think basically what I'm hearing, that's what happened.
Yeah. And I hope today I had to do the same thing. I feel now, obviously I should. Yeah, I've done this other
fair enough
thing,
Fair enough. And, you're gonna tease us and not tell us. That's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'll tell you.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, I'll tell you
personally. Okay. Okay, fine.
Yeah. So,
Okay. So that kind of brings you to the close of
and then
the birth of SnappyMob now.
Yeah, because the end of it was pretty much, you know what, we were making lots of money as consultants in Korea, but it was very
not good life.
Not a good life.
And that's a pretty long time, right? You're 2005 to 2012.
Yeah, long hours, you know, and so on, and very stressful political situations and stuff. And we were on this team, on this product. There was this very important piece of technology that needed to be used for the product.
Yeah.
It would either be our solution or this other team's solution.
I see.
And we literally had a contest inside a Faraday cage to see who's...
what's the lesson and takeaway then here? People are in this situation every day.
Yeah.
Right. And of course it will be up and down in your careers, but you know, you're going to be facing this one day. So what's the takeaway here?
I mean, I don't know. Looking back, I think I'd say the context might not be clear enough, but I think I'd say it could be less ambitious or maybe satisfied with what it would be okay to be satisfied with what you already have. For myself in that situation,
just like greed is a problem here.
Yeah, it's like greed or ambition. That ambition, you know, to especially when someone puts it in front of you.
Is it ego? Was this ego driven?
I think maybe a bit as well. You know, because actually all the people I worked with there you know, it's a bit self-serving. I'd say they were really at the top of their game. Miko is one of the strongest engineers I've ever met, you know, and then this Peter, this other guy, was really strong. So that sort of being at that level of the game, you really just want to do more or be better or show you're better or blah, blah, blah. All
That's a theme throughout your whole career, man.
Yeah. And
everything you're facing, the people are always at the top. And
I mean, I guess that's lucky somehow because you can see them and you know, if you had to rate them, you're like, I want to be as good as them, you know, because they know this, you know, it seems so easy. And I want to be that and so on. And so, but I think that's one situation where I kind of overstretched a bit and, you know, kind of put yourself in this situation that, makes you, you have to make very difficult choices prepared for, I guess. So that's one takeaway. And then, was it worth it? I mean, I'd say, well, very obviously burning out and going that far. I'd say from my perspective now, it's not worth it. You know, your health is very important and so on. But at the same time, maybe it's a bit self-serving because that also gives you that experience. You know?
It's made you what you are now.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's very easy to say, oh, you know, obviously you should have really great work-life balance and not do all these things. And
if you didn't have that,
you know, you're not here, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do great things, it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Push. Yeah.
You have to be pushed to the limits and it's not going to be easy or comfortable.
Yeah.
You can, I guess you can, but you know, what you can do in 1 year and grow massively, you'll probably take maybe a few decades, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I am into making good balance. And honestly, I'd say to others, because I can't actually say I have a good kind of balance myself even today because I'm just dealing with so much stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But at the same time, all these top-notch people I've worked with have been really good. They get really deep into something and know it really well. And, you know, you just don't get that with, you know, an hour a day kind of thing. It's just because they were really immersed in this or they're just into it.
They're kind of built that way to do it.
Yeah. They're wired that way. So I do think to a large extent, you know, without that drive, it's really hard to get to a certain level.
How do you bring that to SnappyMob then?
Honestly, I think for us, it'd be unrealistic to be, everyone must be as driven as that. So for us, the application would be more of what's our culture, I guess. Yeah. Maybe it's the way I'd put it, which is we think these couple of things are important. We think software engineering is important. We think product design is important, and we will drive really hard at it, you know, and a lot of the team members, they're into that and they kind of share that, they're aligned with that to varying degrees. And then sometimes, other people are less so. And I think I've sort of accepted that, honestly, to some extent, just because we end up being pretty happy with what we do for the most part.
Do you ever worry that's going to separate you from from being good to becoming great?
Yeah, I think, I mean, look, if for example, my bosses will, you know, one of the top people in the world for PHP or something like that, you know, and so I don't think, and, you know, some of my other teammates for that as well. And, I rather we focus on what I think we can be really good at.
Fair. Yeah, your competitive edge.
Yeah. And I'd say I'm very happy with some aspects of what we do. Overall level of care and culture in terms of do we care about developing good software, for example. I'd say on average, just based on experiences from talking and so on, I'd say we care about it a bit more than other people around here.
You definitely have an edge then.
Yep. And maybe we can do it a bit better just because I feel all these things are important, and I'm trying to, get my team to feel that way.
To buy in.
As well.
Believe it. Yeah.
That's, if you buy the sort of premise that those are important, then we're already ahead of someone else who doesn't even know that those things exist, maybe, or think that those things are important, and same with product design, and so I think we, what ends up happening, at least for us, is we push really hard at what we can. If you're asking me, am I satisfied with where we are at for, this aspect of what we do, this aspect of what we do, literally, my answer is almost nothing in terms of.
Of course, you could always do better, right?
Yeah, and I'm not even talking about the things that I know we're really bad at. Yeah. Even now, but has not been something we've had the focus and energy to focus on. There's a big list of these things that, I know we have to do.
Let's close off this section of this with this question then. When will you be satisfied with your team and what you have accomplished?
Oh, I'm definitely, I guess I'd say I'm very satisfied with my team.
Well, let's put it to the context of how you feel that what you started off with, which was you get angry because it could be better, and you need to. And you've seen what's better, what's better, and of course, the team is great for where they are. But can you resolve that feeling?
I think yeah. I think it would come at it two ways, which is what is realistic in terms of expectations. And I think now I'm more grounded there. Because when we started, Miko came here for a while as well. He's no longer with us. It's been a long time now. But it was the technical co-founders were really, really strong, you know, and to have any expectation. We did have that expectation, but now I can see it now that's obviously unrealistic, which is your team members will be, maybe not as good as you are.
Relative to where you are, the labor market, the education, all the constraints basically, right?
Yeah. So there's so many constraints. And so back then I was really unrealistic about expectations. And that's actually really toxic because you start maybe blaming people.
Even yourself, right?
Yeah. You blame yourself. Why don't you know this? Blah, blah, blah. And it kind of limits your plans as well, because you're saying, no, I just need to find maybe the right person or whatever, and that's why we're not there. But so I think more recently, past few years, we're really calibrating a bit, which is
focus inward.
Yeah.
Focus on development and talent and growing it.
Which is look, I don't use this pejoratively, but good enough. We want to be good enough, and we know we're confident we have a pretty high bar here already internally. Yeah. And if it's good enough for us, it's, I can literally say we care about some of our clients' products more than they care about themselves. I'm so serious about it.
It's a little bit worrying, but it's part of the game for the business model we've chosen.
Because the reason, some of the projects we do, especially for a larger company, for them, it's a project.
Yeah.
It's not them.
I see what you mean. For you, it's food on the table. It's feeding everyone.
Yeah. And for them, it's a project that's not their company, it's.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's a complementary thing to whatever they're doing.
But it's also your culture. You guys care.
Yeah. So I think that's a main thing for us. We care, and maybe everything drives that a bit. It's not necessarily structured. It's more sometimes if we see, wow, this thing was not done in a good way, even if the client hasn't said anything about it, we're just it's either embarrassing or it just makes us feel bad. I don't know, someone made a knife and it's slightly crooked, and obviously you don't want that. So I think that's the general sense of how we approach things.
So to put it concisely,
I guess it's more we care about what we do.
Okay.
And that's I think the main thing that can transfer over from past experiences. We care about achieving a high level.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've pretty much been living that, and you're growing it and you're scaling with it. So then that's why you could find peace.
Yeah, and I'm pretty happy with the growth. Like at the start, right? It was really tough to find. When you look for people, right? You look for people talented who look for, they also want to look for you, and so on. And it's been getting a bit easier in terms of finding people who you think have lots of potential. That if you kind of immerse them.
Is that because your mind is now more open?
Yeah, I think so. Plus, maybe we can identify.
Okay, yeah, also more experience too.
Yeah, a bit more, and then we've got enough of sort of HR marketing that it didn't seem very risky, necessarily a very risky thing to kind of join this small company. It's
more established now.
Yeah, if you join a 2-person company, 3-person company versus you've got 40, 50 people.
Yeah,
that seems
you have X amount of clients and money coming in.
Yeah, and so that part's been noticeably improving in terms of it seems the general pool of talent we have access to is encouraging. But this is relative. If you ask me versus the pool you have in Amsterdam or something, I'd be like, it's not nowhere close. Yeah. No, definitely. But we've adapted to the challenge, I think.
And I guess in a sense, you have your own advantage now. If say we were to do this in Netherlands, you're competing with Egenik. And that would be much harder. Right? So in a sense, you're kind of bringing Egenik here, but you're kind of adapting it. Yeah. And you found your own flavor.
I mean, they are... Honestly, the founders are very inspirational to me because now I know how tough it is to do this thing. Back then I was just, here's the project, work on the project. You work hard, whatever. But now I know for them to get to where they are, have the team at the level that they are,
manage it.
The clients they have, they've got like really a great pool of clients. Brand names in Europe. I know what
that means.
The effort,
how to close, how to talk to them, how to service them,
everything. And I know the pain that's involved as well. So I don't know, super respectful.
Well, I mean, so I always get a lot of people wanting to build stuff, and I guess this is the perfect, if you're looking to build apps, you built a web platform for our project, but you could do, I think your specialty is apps.
Interesting enough, I mean, we positioned ourselves, since the start has really been focused on mobile apps and stuff. But when you build a mobile app, you generally just have to build the website of things as well. Especially in Malaysia now, our clients, they just want one, do everything, go do everything, But from a revenue perspective, I'd say actually we've kind of shifted to more of our revenue is coming from web apps, systems and really business systems type things.
Well, I think SaaS in general and B2B is underserved. So
I mean, and honestly, in terms of client space, it's a lot easier for them to prove their value, which is, hey, we need a business system for this internal process. And if you fulfill this thing we need, we will save X amount of money or increase our revenue this amount. And that's the case. That's it. They're not trying to find, product market fit or something like that.
Fair enough. Yeah. Different. So, I mean, if a company is to build something, whether it be a system, an app or a website, how do they contact you?
I guess our website, because there's a contact form there. So
SnappyMob.com. Which is SnappyMob. .com.
And, you can
just ask for Alan.
Yeah, just ask for Alan. You can put in a referral code or something.
Great. So and I guess that's the whole story of Alan, I guess, right?
Yep.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. Hey listeners, thanks for listening to our first episode of 2021. Stay tuned for part 2, where Alan gives any entrepreneur who deals with tech some practical and pragmatic advice. For part 1, what can we learn? Alan had no crazy ambitions to rise to the top as a young child, a very normal, happy childhood where most of his needs were met. However, he had the raw talent, and when he decided to apply himself, solving hard problems consistently helped open more doors. And with his abilities and a bit of luck, with a bit of risk-taking, his career really took off. While Alan missed a few potentials of making some life-changing money from FactSet to Pixel Active, he had no regrets as he chose experience compounding over monetary compounding to grow himself. Also, I feel that any hacker or developer who has accomplished a lot spent a lot of time building and tinkering away for a period of time, just like Alan, which allowed them to grow further. Make no mistake, this translates across all endeavors. Time and effort and digging a well of knowledge applied to problem solving are keys to developing springboards of growth. While we didn't get to hear the full story of his painful mistakes as a consultant for one of the largest telecom companies in the world, it's a common theme for anyone approaching entrepreneurship that pain is often unavoidable. But how you handle it and after the trauma is more important for your personal growth and development, and working on that often takes years. That can't be resolved immediately. In the end, Alan chose to follow the footsteps of his peers and colleagues that he admired at Eugenic from the Netherlands, a delicate balance of knowing what's realistic while pushing his high standards towards growth, trying to be a top development agency in Malaysia. It's hard to see it, but you can strive for high quality and still have big impact in a healthy way. Alan is a great example of defining his own internal values and measuring his own success from them, something I encourage all to follow. Please stay tuned for next week's episode. And as usual, if you enjoyed the content, share it with your friends and family, send us feedback, help us review, or just contact me at alex@entrepreneursofasia.com.